So I know it's a little hard to see because they're a little small, but just wanted to make sure you guys know, like, I'm rocking, like, is it focusing? Can you see that? Okay, I'm rocking my chakram earrings. It's very important that you know that, just getting that out of the way. Hey everyone, as promised, I'm trugging along with that Xena Warrior Princess content, capital C up in here. And you know, wearing my merch. Got this from MegaCon Orlando, got that shirt that I wore in the one of the last videos, past videos, got that at MegaCon Orlando. I actually cut that baby up to wear at the gym. Xena Warrior Princess season 1 is 24 episodes long, 24 40-ish 45-ish minutes long. That's a lot. That's a lot to go through. We have everything, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything in between. So I love the show. It's so much nostalgia for me. It was super formative for me. Like, I grew up watching that show when I was a tween, learning the skills and the values and everything that I'm gonna take with me into adulthood. It was super formative for me. When I met Lucy, like, I basically told her that, and Rob. I met Rob there too. But I'm not blinded by, blinded by the nostalgia eyes. I know it was a show in the 90s, and some things might not be as great as they could be today in 2019. So we're gonna talk about the bad today. There were a lot of bad episodes in season 1, and for me, bad, it mostly has to deal with a plot that doesn't go anywhere, like repetitive plots, stories that don't move the essential story any further along, things that are maybe just plain stupid. So that's what we're going to talk about today. My 5 top worst episodes that I did not like in season 1 of Xena Warrior Princess. So we're going to start this off with episode 3, Dreamworker. I did not like that episode. I thought it was silly. I thought the costumes were bad, especially Gabrielle's. It looked like crinkly, like it was. I don't even know how to explain this fabric that she had on. So that was, being a cosplayer now and being so focused on costumes, and especially watching season 1 for the costumes, seeing like which cosplays that I'm gonna do from the series. I was really hyper focused on the costumes, and while so many of the costumes are amazing, that one was horrible and it was so distracting for me. So I think more than anything, that's why I didn't like this episode. It heavily influenced me not liking this episode. As for the plot, it had a major plot hole. We have Gabrielle being taken by a priest of some god, I forget. They're the god of dreams, Morpheus, question mark. And she was taken because she was a blood innocent. She was also a virgin, so she was super, super innocent. And this god wanted to marry her or something, but in order to be good enough for her to be marriable to the god, she had to go through these 3 trials. And the 3 trials, she would be forced, or they were hoping that she would be forced to spill blood, making her then not worthy for the god, and then she would be sacrificed. So do you get what I'm saying? Like, she would be screwed if she did and screwed if she didn't. So she was going to be forced to kill somebody and then be sacrificed for this god. And the last trial, Gabrielle had outsmarted them the whole way through, didn't take blood, and at the end, the priest like threatened to kill her if she didn't kill somebody. It's like, bro, like, you are completely, like, this is not conducive to your plan. Like, you need her to kill somebody to marry the priest, to marry the god. Then you're threatening her that you will kill her if she doesn't kill somebody, so then she would get sacrificed anyway. Like, it just didn't make any sense. So that was a big part of why I didn't like this episode. And like I said before, the costumes were super distracting. And then also Xena's part in this in this episode, I really liked that she had to defeat her old self in order to move past. Like, Xena also had to go through trials to save Gabrielle in this dreamscape world, and her last trial was to defeat her evil self. But her evil self was just her with black contacts. I think they could have done better. And then to introduce this factor so early in the season, in the series, as if Xena kind of coming to terms with her past and her evil self could have been resolved in just that bottle episode, was kind of ridiculous, because the whole season, the whole series, Xena's still constantly battling with her past self, her past deeds, her past misdeeds, all of that. So for them to kind of put it into this episode as if her defeating her past self in like a really physical, and a physical manifestation of her past bad self, evil Xena, it's kind of didn't make a lot of sense. But I guess they didn't know how long Xena would go on, so they kind of wanted to get that kind of plot idea out there. And if they, got longer seasons, which they did, then they could further explore that. But I don't think it should have been introduced so early in the season. That's just my opinion. Next episode that I was not too happy about was the Titans. Again, it was a super, like, it was very cheesy. It was very cheesy. Pretty much. So we have Gabrielle, whose virginity is another big plot point in this episode. She awakened the sleeping Titans, and she kind of she lied to them for no reason, telling the Titans assumed that since she awakened them, she had to be a goddess, and she just said, yes, I am. But everything, like, it didn't make any sense. They should have known better. These Titans should have known better. And Gabrielle, there's no reason for her to lie about being a goddess. If she would have been upfront, I feel like a lot of the plot could have just been taken care of, since it was kind of 2 against 1. We had 2 giants, Titans, who were very liked mortals or very amicable towards them, and then one who was kind of an asshole. I feel like if she would have been up front, it wouldn't have been a big deal. And then just the Titans, the actors themselves were being over dramatic. The kind of scaling that they used, I think it was a lot of forced perspective used in kind of creating the giants. The giants are a different kind of breed in Xena Warrior Princess. Not to be mistaken with the Titans, okay? It's very important. So the Titans, they use kind of a lot of forced perspective to shoot them, and it was just kind of, just overall very cheesy, very overacty, and it was just not, it didn't move the plot of the season as a season or the series as a whole. Just kind of a one-off episode that, didn't really do it for me. Now it kind of hurts my heart to put the next episode on this list, since for so long I claimed that it was one of my favorite episodes, and that is Mortal Beloved. It really does hurt my heart. I loved I loved the story of Xena and Marcus. He was the first, he's a black character who was the first love interest of the main white woman character. Race in Xena did not mean a goddamn thing. Wasn't a big deal. And it was really important to see a black male character who was not typical, who could earn the love of this main character who wasn't perfect himself. She wasn't perfect, and I just really loved their story that starts in an earlier episode, The Path Not Taken, and then kind of completes in Mortal Beloved. Those two were always among one of my favorite episodes as looking back. And I just want to say that I watched Xena while it was running, so in my teens. That I watched Xena again when the series came out on DVDs, so probably in my very early 20s. And then now I'm watching Xena, and I've watched one-off episodes also throughout the years, but doing a full rewatch Xena now in my 30s is definitely a completely different experience than watching it in my early 20s and then in my teens. So looking back on these episodes now is a completely different story. So that's what I'm saying, like rewatching this love story, this two-part love story, and then not liking the second episode as much as I thought I would, is heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking, honestly. So I do still really enjoy the Xena Marcus moments in the episode. Everything else sucks. So you have this cheesy warlord that Xena killed in an earlier episode. He's back and he's being over the top and scheming, and yeah, Xena has to, that warlord stole Hades' helmet of invisibility, which that never comes up again, even though Hades himself appears in Xena, and like this helmet is like really linked to his power, which doesn't make any sense at all. And I don't know if that has any real any real weight in real actual mythology either. Not that Xena has to. Xena does goes fast and loose with actual, you know, canon mythology. But I don't think that has any basis in actual mythology anyway. So this warlord steals the helmet. He loves to kill brides on their wedding night, so he goes back up to the mortal world and is like reliving like his past. It's stupid. It's a stupid little plot that kind of was the impetus for this episode. But and that's, you know, that's why it's on one of my least favorite episodes of the season, just for that, because I loved the Marcus Xena moments. But just the subplot of this warlord who's just overly cheesy, overly evil. I think he does like some evil laughs, stuff like that all throughout the episode. And then at the end, which was super shocking, like I remembered this, but I did not remember how shocking it was. In order for, so Hades granted Marcus, Xena's lover, temporary immortality, like 48 hours, something like that. And Marcus will die again. At the end of this 48 hours, instead of letting Marcus just like, I don't know, just die, just like collapse or fall out, Xena stabs him in the heart. And it's super graphic. Like I remembered that this happened, but seeing it again was traumatizing. It was very traumatizing. So that's why, that's another reason why it makes it on my least favorite episodes. I did not like that. Did not like that at all. Number 4, we have Altered States. So this is your classic sibling rivalry to the extreme. So we have this 2 sons, an older son and a younger son. The younger son is kind of, has all the love and blessings of the father, even though the older son does also have the love of his father. It's just the younger son is deemed more special and XYZ, whatever. So the older son makes this plot to kill the younger son, Xena gets involved and hijinks ensue. But again, it's just a very kind of over the top kind of cheesy episode. Yeah, where the older son, who's planning the death of his younger brother, is like grinning evilly and laughing sinisterly and all this kind of extra stuff that kind of I guess it feeds into the campiness of Xena, but it can also go over the top. And for me, this episode's a little too much over the top. And Karl Urban, who is a series regular in the show and playing multiple different parts in both Xena and Hercules, it's his first role in Xena, and it's just like, how could they have well, firstly, I'm watching this whole episode like, that's Caesar. That's Caesar. He plays Caesar, one of Xena's top nemesis in the show, down the line. And I'm like, but he's not playing that character, and he's just like a baby, and his hair is all floppy, and it's just adorable. But I just don't know how they could have seen this performance and just like, that's Caesar. Because as I remember it, Caesar was kind of one of those characters who you love to hate. So for me, it's just like, and that might change, you know, watching the next episodes, like I might hate Caesar. But watching it now and remembering how much I like Caesar, and seeing him portray this character, is like, how did they make the jump to, you know, cast this guy in so many characters based on this performance? It's bad, it's bad. And the last episode, episode 5, not episode 5, but the 5th episode on this list is going to have to go to Death Mask. Now, we get the introduction of Xena's older brother. He is, him and Xena are estranged because Xena decided to defend her village from a warlord's attack. Her brother wanted to run. In the end, obviously, staying and fighting was the right option. It cost Xena a lot of herself, so she went on to the path of becoming this ruthless warlord, evil Xena. But it also cost Xena's family, like, the death of her youngest brother. Her oldest brother constantly has blamed her for this, but he also has had a lot of harbored some insecurities about it in himself, that he was he was a coward, basically. He chose to run out of nothing but cowardly intentions, not because he thought it was the best option for the village, which is what he said, like, oh no guys, we should run. We're running to protect ourselves, but he was really running to protect himself. So all that is good in itself, but the back and forth between Taurus kind of warming up to Xena and then rejecting her again, and then not listening to her. Basically, she's telling him, you know, there's a difference between killing in the moment and then killing in cold blood. That's worse than anything that I did. You know, I killed for a reason. I didn't kill, like, she had a code of ethics, basically, as a warlord. A little code of ethics, but there was still something there that guided her. She was like a premeditated murderer, which is what she's telling her brother, like, this is what you will become, even worse than what I was. And he's just not listening to her and completely dismissing her and just like going back and forth. It's kind of too much. And also, like I said, the plot is kind of inconceivable because the warlord who attacked Xena's village is now the king of a land. So he's basically, he's the leader of a bandit group that's attacking this kingdom that he's also the king of. So it's a little convoluted, a little too much back and forth with Xena and her brother with himself. And then we never see him again. Also, never see or hear about Taurus ever again. So I felt like that was something that was lacking in the show that I didn't really like, kind of like a plot hole. Like we have like Xena and Gabrielle and other smaller characters like Joxer, well not smaller, Joxer is a main character, but we get to see him and his family, we get to see Gabrielle and her family, Xena interacts with her family throughout the series, and it's like, what happened to her brother? He's never mentioned again. So that kind of stuck with me for like this whole time. It's kind of annoying. But yeah guys, those are my 5 least favorite episodes of Xena Warrior Princess Season 1. Mostly, like I said, they didn't drive the plot of the series any further, like as a cohesive kind of thing. Mostly because like overacting and kind of cheesy stuff, and or just playing stuff that I didn't like. I didn't like Xena stabbing Marcus in the heart. I didn't like it. I'm sorry.